Good evening, trading addicts, and welcome to the weekly watch list. I am your host, Jeff Kohler, aka the Option Addict, as they call me, from TradingAddicts.com. Start off with a little bit of market analysis here, and we'll go over some trading ideas as usual. S&P saw a little bit of window dressing last week that, really, first time in a while we've seen a really big surge of buying. And what I've been following really closely over the last couple of weeks is this little channel of lower prices, right? I mean, the rallies have been pretty weak, and they've been faded pretty hard. Some pretty good downside movements. Little itty bitty rallies, boom, big downside movement. Now we saw on Thursday, big surge in volume across the board. A lot of stocks were getting lifted, and it was really against all other intermarket relationships. It was just wasn't really supported by anything. So what do we call that? Looking at that as a little bit of portfolio window dressing. We saw the same thing just to a little bit of extent on Friday. A lot of volume coming into a lot of small cap names, tech stocks, the used, the stocks that have been printing gains all month. They're dressing up portfolios with some of those stocks that have been on fire, right? So the way I look at this is I still, I'm a little less concerned about this channel right here, right now. And what I'm looking at this from kind of a bigger perspective is, almost like a nice little reversal pattern that's been setting up. Yeah, we'll see if it materializes at all, but I'm looking at this as kind of a wacky little shoulder off here to the left, a head supported up here right in the middle with another shoulder that could materialize. And what I think you ought to pay really close attention to is the 925 mark on the S&P. If the index prints 925, then that puts the S&P cash index back onto a buy signal, which means we're probably going to see a little bit more upside. But as long as we stay beneath the 925 value exactly, I think you got to fade this market. At least that's the way that I'm looking at it. It's shaping up to be summer doldrums all the way across the board, but we'll see how this week kicks off. Even though it's a holiday shortened week, we've got some important economic data that's going to be coming out at us this week. So I got to say I'm growing increasingly bearish as the days wear on. So to shake things up to get this party started, I'm going to throw a couple dips, rips, breakouts, and breakdowns at you. So take a look at these. Now for the good stuff, let's take a look at some price patterns. I'm going to start with old ticker symbol FPL. We've got a long position here, and FPL didn't trade so well here as of Friday, but fought off a downgrade pretty well, held on to support. I'm looking at this. This is probably a really good anticipatory spot. If this triangle is going to break to the upside, it's got to hold here at about 56.5, let's call it. I look at that as being a pretty good entry point. I've already got a position here, but I like this to break to the upside. Utilities are still holding up pretty well. Next, TTEC. We're probably going to look at this in a 6-month chart and show you kind of the nice, let's go 9-month. There we go. Nice, long, rounded bottom. Price has just been holding up, pretty stable up here near these highs, and then as of Friday, broke out. A little bit of window dressing, big unusual volume. That's going to be a theme. You look across stocks and you're going to say, wow, look at the volume. But keep in mind that was kind of a Friday event. It's not just specific to the stock that you're looking at. But I like this breakout here in TTEC. I think you got to buy the dip back at 14. CVLT, Commvault. Take a look at this nice little pennant, this nice little triangle that's forming up here at the highs. I like the setup. I like that it's a cheap stock. I still like that theme. So look for a breakout here north of 17. FUQI. Looks like a nice little pennant that's shaping up through here. Good movement on Friday. This thing's seen a lot of volume just in general over the last couple of weeks. So watch for this, to break out. And I'm thinking about 17.5 or so. I might put it in order there to take this thing up to 20. Lumber liquidator. So a couple of weeks ago, lumber was trading really bizarre. Limit up for a couple of sessions there. And I like this breakout here in lumber liquidators. In fact, on Monday, if prices pull back around 16 and can hold that value, I think you got to buy the dip now that this breakout's confirmed, because it points to more upside. Next, we're going to look at Blue Coat Systems, BCSI, courtesy of the Axeman. showing me a nice little ascending triangle that's formed up here. Already saw the breakout here on Friday. Good volume again. Volume was kind of a constant on Friday, But if prices can stabilize and pull back around 17, I think you got to buy that dip. Hell, even Lifetime Fitness is breaking out here, or it looks like it wants to. LTM, take a look at this triangle. It's a little bit anticipatory here, but it's getting pretty darn close to that breakout point, which is going to be right at about 21. If it breaks out there, I think this thing runs for a couple of points. ADCT, telecommunications. Gotta like that group right here. A little bit more defensive. I like the move that it's on Friday. It's still a little bit anticipatory here, but I like this thing, especially if it can print above 9. I think it runs for a couple of bucks. Merck, not the sexiest stock that I would normally talk about on these types of videos, but defensive. I think the market gets a little bit more defensive here. I like the action here heading the last couple of days. A break above that 200-day moving average, and I think you got to get long. Maybe a longer-term trade idea here. Still in telecom, but going out foreign. I like this setup here in Eric. Take a look at the nice little ascending triangle that's been forming here over the last couple of days. You can even stretch that going all the way back to here. I like the idea of foreign telecom right here. Something a little bit more of the bearish variety. Navigators, NAVG. Watch for a breakdown this week. Couldn't hold on to its gains mid to late last week. On Friday, rolled over. I like this. Once it breaks down beneath about, let's call it 43. I think this thing's got a pretty good shot down here onto 40. Nice little 10% move. I like the setup. Stryker, medical device stocks have been crazy lately. And so you've got this little price action here, breakout, and a pullback, which means it's pretty much all clear, all systems go. But you can even stretch these lines a little bit further back, and we've got a much bigger reversal pattern here in the making. Like Stryker. Same thing with RMD, ResMed. There it is, kind of a similar pattern. You can even draw this a little bit further back. But I like the breakout here as of Friday. Pull back around 40.5, 41. I think you got to buy that too. CA, Computer Associates. Take a look at the support level right through here. Nice little rejections off the 200-day moving average over the last couple of weeks. I think you got to sell into this, especially right here. I'm growing increasingly bearish on tech. I mean, tech has been a really hot spot, but it's so far overbought. I think it eventually is due for a correction, much like we saw in the energy sector. So keep an eye on CA. I like the setup. A breakdown here I think should be a real easy move back down to about a 15 handle. And let's go with a couple others. O'Reilly, the auto parts stores have been kind of forming these nice little triangles up here near their highs as well. A little bit more of a bearish tone to them. But I like them on breakdowns. So I'd say you could try it here. You can try to get anticipatory, but especially on a breakdown of about 35, I think you got to get bearish here. Going over into transports, Ryder, been following this pattern here for quite a long time. Still haven't taken any action, but keep an eye on it as it's been pretty weak. A little bit more bearish on transports, and especially those that are well away from that 200-day moving average. I'm watching for a breakdown here right at about 26.5. VMC, courtesy of another trading addict that sent this in to me earlier this week. I'll take a look at this setup. Nice little coiling action going on right through here. Watch for a breakdown as the stock's been pretty weak in general, but a breakdown ought to shove it at least down towards about 35 or so, if not lower. And let's go with a little cheap name here, HIMX, again courtesy of the Axeman. Take a look at this nice little triangle. You know, $3 stock. I even like it right here. I could buy it up, 8% as of Friday. Like that setup a lot. Let's go ahead and end it right there, folks. Thanks as always for tuning in. If you want to see what type of action we're taking on any of these ideas, please log into www.tradingaddicts.com. You guys have a great week. This is the Option Addict. This has been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
It breathes, it eats, and it hates. The only way to beat it is to think like it.